How does a goofy, nerdy trio of beer-swilling film geeks broadcasting from the bottom of a Florida swamp with senior citizens in knee-high socks and wearing Crocs with sass produce a podcast that is really kick-ass? They all holler, sounding dumber without a filter as they talk louder. And they swear harder, not sounding a lot smarter. Never even seen Coach Carter, but last week they spent the whole show on Tom Hanks's boner. It's the New Way Podcast. It's the New Way Podcast. And there's a lot of content for adults. Discretion is advised. What's the show called? Last Pint's New Way Podcast, man.
Dude. I guess you've got a point there.
Well, I read through that handbook for the recently deceased. It says, live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual.
The Shadow knows.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me and naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello. That was the most we have ever peaked during an intro I've ever seen. That is the most amazing. It looks like a Rorschach test over here.
A poor man's Stooges.
In case you didn't know, you're listening to the New Way Podcast, and this is our extra special second only pitch a musical episode. And we are so excited to let you listen to some of the most.
Are we
strangely
excited?
I'm terrified. I am almost always so. When it comes to the musical episode, I go through complete bipolar moods where I record it. I take like 26 takes to record something awful. Then I listen to it and I go, "It's as good as it's going to get," and I put it away. And I listen to it again. And I go, "You know what? I think this might be pretty good." And then listen to it a third time. I go, "No, it was terrible. It was way worse than I thought."
I'm with you, but the reason, and I mean this before I know that there's a couple other things to talk about, but same as the first time we did it. All of the takes that I actually ended up using my vocals are first takes. I was like, I'm going to stick to my first. But listen, no, it's terrible. It's obviously it's very awful this time. It's very obvious awful this time. But I literally completely scrapped 3 songs. So I mean this. I recorded the intro, which I'm kind of
those 3 songs
proud
were only
of.
really, really good. And you've been only except the first take really, really,
so
really
you did
good.
the same spiel last time, and you made me even more nervous because
He's taking time out of the podcast to say how good it is.
I'm so off pitch because I'm whisper singing and shit.
This better be another emo album.
I
So I'm
shit
saying
you
it's not.
When you listen to mine, it sounds like a guy that was just handed these lyrics for the first time and never heard the music before.
Pretty much me too.
I did way better with the Buds pitch.
You should have made Buds the musical. Then you would have been shouting it from the mountaintops.
I actually mean this. I recorded 3 songs, and then I hated them so much, and I ended up going back and picking new bass music. Like actual
bass music?
No, not dubstep.
Shadow, the Shadow. Who knows? I know the Shadow.
Well, hey, before we start talking about our stuff, is there anything that we?
Sure, there's some old business and some new business to get to before we get into
there's some old business and some new business.
So the old business is
business.
We have to give another big thanks to our first long form call-in guest last week with Ryan, which I thought
Ryan in Houston. Thank you.
And Ryan, your statue will be erected next week. The ceremony will be at 9 a.m. on Sunday in Matt's front yard.
Well, and we're also lining up to pleasure you. And since I'm
Anything
your
you want.
favorite, I'm the last one. Anything you need, we'll have there. But
let's circle back on his favorite. I think I made some salient points about why I was more
he
like
might have
Ryan.
changed his mind by the end of it.
He may have done that.
But yeah, I just it was a really good listen. If you guys want to listen to it, it was our last episode. It's loosely about talkback culture and largely about whether or not Tom Hanks had sex in the movie Big. And if you're interested in that debate, you're going to want to listen to that episode for sure.
And who wouldn't be? To be honest.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is something I sent to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but there is a production, and it's good. It's a stage adaptation of the movie Network that they did in England. They're now doing it in New York with Bryan Cranston, but it is.
I texted to my mom, and she said that she actually just saw King Kong last weekend.
Well, so
and
Kong looks
what'd she
crazy
think about
cool.
that?
Well, hold on. She saw Kong only because tickets for Network were going for at the base level like $375 a ticket. So, like Super Bowl level,
and Kong's got to be like fucking kicking itself because Kong is pretty impressive as far as what they're doing with its
she said that it was
puppetry.
She said that the puppetry and Kong was like nothing she's ever seen. That it was a true spectacle and it is absolutely worth the price of admission. But everything else was pretty mediocre, which is kind of what I assumed.
Yeah,
it
that's
would
what
be.
I assumed it would be too. But because the whole, I
She
thought it
still
was
left pretty amped.
really funny. Like back in August, my mom, we already knew we were going to New York, and she was just like, "Well, there's something that you and Beth are going to see in New York, and that's your birthday."
A homeless man urinating in an alley.
That's your birthday and Christmas present this
That is
year.
your birthday Christmas present.
Yeah,
You also see that this weekend for your. That's also my birthday and Christmas present to you. Sorry,
who's the homeless man?
It'll be me. I won't be allowed back in my house after I do that.
Oh shit! Your birthday's coming up.
No, let's not talk about that. We'll talk about the next episode towards the end.
Yes.
But anyways, I thought she was.
I gotta
was
get
like,
your ceremonial fruitcake.
She was
Birthday
like
fruitcake.
I'm like, oh, obviously this is tickets to a show, is what my mom is talking about, and I was just like, King Kong. I really got super excited.
Oh no!
And it just sucked so bad that it was
Thunder
only
from down under.
It was only Harry Potter and the Cursed Child parts 1 and 2
Poor
consecutively.
saint of a mother.
I was just like, oh shit. Well, there's a huge discrepancy between the two of those as gifts.
I gotta say, like, I think it was really cool. I watched like kind of all of the behind the scenes stuff on Kong, and it looked really it's just this big spectacle. But what they're doing with Network is the first time I've actually seen film and stage. Yeah, it's we're all a little warm in here because it's actually cold outside, so my AC is just not.
I
kicking
really
in.
that's what it is.
So,
baby, it's warm.
look, I like to keep it hot in here, keep us on our toes. So we're gonna just deal with it.
Nice and toasty.
It's gonna be good.
It's a good preamble.
You're
But anyway,
glistening
continue.
like
I
the
didn't
morning
mean to-
dew on a grass blade.
So Network they have actual cinematographers and videographers that are part of the show shooting live on stage to fill 40 monitors behind him and stuff. So there are moments where you're getting close-up reaction shots in a stage show from a character that's offset of the news set. Plus, they do a bit where they actually go out onto the streets of New York for 10 minutes of the show with a camera with Bryan Cranston every night of the show. Out in the fucking street.
No way that could go wrong.
I mean, it's Birdman like brought to stage. I don't think I've ever seen a more. I don't know how it goes correct every night.
Think about the security they have to have on the street for those 10 minutes.
Well, and they've got the ones that are running the camera operators are like trained like shooters because they literally have a cinematographer on stage to like show how you're going to light this, how he's lit, because he's now in close up and he's in stage makeup and he's in stage lighting. So how do we shoot this shit? It is, and they have a newsroom in it, a control booth. That's exactly like the control room in a news studio where half the people in there are actually people running the show.
Yeah.
It is, my brother said it to me, he goes, I'm at a loss for words. Like, I don't think I've ever seen
So cool.
anything that will ever be done like this ever again.
Call me when they do Aaron Sorkin's Sports Night, the musical. Don't talk over my Aaron Sorkin joke. How dare you?
I'm sorry.
First of all, I would totally go see an Aaron Sorkin Sports Night musical.
Who would not? I mean, come on. Sports Night might be the best Aaron Sorkin show ever produced.
It's so good.
It really is that. I mean, my opinion.
Well, West Wing.
I think 2 seasons of Sports Night's better than The West Wing.
All the entirety of West Wing? That's a hot take.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's a hot take. It's a hot take.
It's a hot take in a hot room.
I think The West Wing's an overrated show. But that's me.
Hey, I do love me some Sports Night. But anyway,
I'm going to give you guys some airs since it is getting a little toasty
real hot
in here.
Real hot.
Super hot.
But
real hot.
I was gonna say because I mean I was impressed. I remember when I saw American Idiot, and they have the thing where they have like the old like late '90s ocular TV screens all over, and at one point they do have like cameras that are on set up where they're zoomed in, and so you're actually seeing like performers as they sing certain parts, and they're broadcast and they're flickering like all over the screen. I was just like, that's badass. I've never seen anything like that before. Network is taking this to an actual part of the actual mechanism of the show.
Yeah, I guarantee the guy that's doing network saw that and was like, "Oh shit, I want to do this like times 1,000 and ruin everyone's night in that theater."
Yeah,
like
it's pretty insane.
It's insane. Plus, I mean, you got Bryan Cranston playing this news anchor that's going to lose it and do the line that's famous to me, of course, from UHF when he says, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore."
Right.
But
From Weird Al Yankovic's
UHF.
These floors are dirty as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. It's the second best deliverance of that speech, other than Michael Richards in UHF. Not to be confused with Deliverance.
Second best deliverance.
Ding, 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 ding.
The second best deliverance.
Wow. Now, so we have one more thing to get to here.
Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh man, God bless smart devices that control air conditioning units. It was 5 minutes in here and it smells like a locker room. Not 1 minute too late, Matt. Thank you. I feel very comfortable.
I thought you were. He said like Uncle Tom's Cabin. I thought, and you go, "Thank God." I was like, "Are you going to thank God for Uncle Tom's Cabin?" That's amazing. So I have
Uncle Tom, Uncle what was UHF? Uncle Nutsy's
Funhouse.
Uncle Tom, Uncle Nutsy. We cover all the bases.
So
here,
Nick,
anyway.
number between 1 and 3.
3.
Okay. Do not look at it. Just take it.
Okay. Just
Okay.
take it and like it.
Ben, 1 or 2.
I'll go with 2.
Okay. Take that. Do not look at it. So I was
Okay.
reading an
What is going
article.
on here?
I was reading an article this week, and there's an awards for the worst written sex passages in novels for the year.
Wow.
And I said, I must read this article. I just saw the headline. I go, I've got to see it.
Can we Skype in Anna Faris?
Yes, that would be fantastic to Skype in Anna Faris.
Let me text her real quick. Hold on, maybe she can do it.
No, baby, she's busy.
Wow.
So I
think Anna Faris would go for me.
maybe. I think maybe she's the Chris Pratt. You're kind of Chris Prattish. Yeah, like I could see
Just
that.
like Andy Dwyer, just like our friend Ryan.
Oh,
Tune in
Why does
to
this
last
have to
week's
be?
episode.
there it is. So, yes.
We need like those comic book footnotes, like see issue 122.
Yeah, that'll be. You can go back through the podcast and dig up our references on there.
I reflexively just looked at this paper for half a second just to make sure I could read it.
Yes.
And the only word I saw was chin.
So I will. So even though our podcasts get very, very dirty at times, I did edit out 1 or 2 words that I felt was a little bit too much. Because
we gonna burn books now? Next?
well,
What is
because
this?
I
Censorship.
felt that this is the musical episode that some of our parents might want to listen to. Like your mom might want to listen to the musical episode.
My parents do not listen to this podcast,
But they're going to want to listen to your hot take on Beetlejuice the musical, aren't they?
Well.
So I was looking out for you in particular. But if you want to know the word, I will put it right back in for you, my friend. Just trying to be nice.
Well, fair enough.
So each of you has a passage in front of you. We're going to start with Nick. I want you to read it. Now, if
I sense that something's censored, I'm just going to say something terrible.
You might. I don't know if you got the... I don't have it. So it's one of you got the one that I censored a little bit. So now I'm also going to offer you the choice. You can take it or not.
Or what's behind door number 2?
To read it as an impersonation of someone if you would like to. If you're feeling confident in your impersonation skills. Since we're known here on the New Way for our impersonation skills.
Like my Penny Marshall.
Oh, don't bring back poor Penny. I hate this.
Please read yours as
I
Penny
know.
Marshall.
I hate that. No, I hate that.
That's what
hate that.
Come on.
When people get Robin Leach, do people know who he is? Like
I know who Robin Leach
It's
is.
the only impression I can really do.
That's a really deep dive on that one.
My impression of like Frank Sinatra is not my impression of Frank Sinatra. It's my impression of Joe Piscopo doing an impression
Who
of
do you
Frank
think is going to
Sinatra.
turn people on the most? I think Robin Leach. I think it's Robin Leach.
I could do an impression of Joe Piscopo and Johnny Dangerously.
Oh God!
It
There's a
shoots
deep
through
dive.
schools.
Nick, don't read it like that. My mother read like that once.
Once.
Oh wow,
God, I love that
Johnny
movie.
Dangerously
God, I
super
love that
fans
movie.
over here. Wow.
I would have done
know.
that musical in a fucking second.
Johnny Dangerously,
This
the
is
musical.
the life. Weird Al penned theme song.
Well, another
Wow.
Weird Al connection. There always is one.
So who's
All right,
going first?
Nikki's going first.
okay. Right now, we've got the most erotic case of fiction in all of Los Angeles.
Now, at the top is going to be the author's name. Underneath that, the name of the book.
Okay. This is by Gerard Woodward. Say that 5 times fast. And it's called The Paper Lovers. Do I get a little music or something?
Oh, Jesus.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I feel like, you know...
I honestly don't have anything other than our musicals.
No, okay, let's skip it.
I'll give you some sound effects if you need.
You can look up the love theme from Richard Elfman's Forbidden Zone. I think it would really pair well, like a fine cheese and a lime.
Just
go for
just
it.
do it.
Just go for it.
Just
Okay.
go for it.
All right. He was aware that she was making a mewling sound as he put his lips to her tightened nipple and sucked. His mouth tugged at her, extended her. She snapped back.
I love it.
In his mind, he pictured her neck, her long neck, her swan's neck, her Alice in Wonderland neck, coiling like a serpent coiling down on him. That's redundant. She had found a way through his clothing, and her fingers had lightly touched his manhood, then slowly began to take a firmer hold. He wanted to cry like a baby. He felt helpless, as though his body had come undone and she was fastening it. Then he felt powerful, gigantic. He would have kicked a door down.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Manhood replaced.
Honestly,
a dirtier
throbbing
word.
cock.
You have a damn second career as just doing the book on tape version of
The
Dirty
erotic.
Knot.
I'm ready.
Because honestly,
Call me.
you know what? I'm hard as a rock.
Amazing.
Thank you. That's the highest compliment.
I
Do
give
you
that-
want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next.
Try to return the favor. Let me get comfortable here.
This is by Julian Go, although it could be Julian.
It's Julian. I have all the books.
Oh, okay. In a amazing novel called Connect.
4.
That's the fourth in the series. This is Connect 1.
In 15 years, if we're lucky, it'll be like George R.R. Martin. Fans will be clamoring for Connect 4. And it'll be on death's doorstep. Just listen, we don't care what happens in the HBO series of Connect. We want to know how you end Connect 4.
But I haven't read Connect 3.
You'll be so lost. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
That is funny. He drops the blood. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Okay, here we go.
What did he drop?
He drops the bra to the floor, looks up into her eyes. It's too much. He kisses her chin, her mouth, and their tongues touch. Oh, too much. He slips free with his lips with a soft suck. Moves up to kiss her strong nose on one side, then the other. It's hard and soft at once. He moves back down till he is level with her breasts. They're small, she says, surprisingly shy, apologetic. They're perfect, he says. He kisses them, teases a nipple with his lips. It's so soft, and then suddenly, hard. Wow.
Wow.
That one ends
Wow.
in wow. That one. Whoa.
Listen.
Wow.
You know, if we had music, it would have maybe have diffused the very real sexual tension that I feel in this. We could cut it with a knife. Thank God the AC came on. If it was as hot as it was when we first walked in this room after that reading, we'd be moist.
I should have thought of the music. That was my bad.
Moist
It's
AF.
all good.
Now, I'm really glad you guys did not choose this one because it's my favorite set of authors. They are both apparently majors. So this one is by Major Victor Cornwall and Major Arthur St. John Trevelyan. The movie is called Scoundrels: The Hunt for Hans Klopp. And
It's like a How I Met Your Mother joke waiting to happen.
And here's how it starts. Empty my tanks, I'd begged breathlessly, as once more she began drawing me deep inside her pleasure cave.
Ooh.
Her vaginal ratchet moved in a concertina like waves,
Oh my God.
slowly chugging my organ as a boa constrictor swallows its prey.
Wait, this was a bad excerpt? One of the
Soon,
worst?
I was locked in, balls deep, ready to be ground down by the enameled pepper mill within her.
Okay,
Well
listen.
done,
you
Major.
You can't not censor balls deep. And then what did you censored one word, one synonym for dick?
It was a real hard C that seemed like it really elevated your piece into pornography.
Well, let me do it again. I'm ready to go.
Go ahead.
Manhood?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me read it. Get ready for this. You didn't want music so you could get drops. That's what you did.
No, that's actually a good
you
idea.
diabolical bastard.
Don't do that.
wow.
You gave him ideas.
I honestly didn't think of that
I'm
until just
sorry,
now.
it just came out, Ben.
I mean, a slurred sophisticate of us reading erotica is
You
about
didn't
the
think
best
of
episode ever.
you didn't think of it. Nick did.
I said it before I thought that he could use it as ammunition.
I'm going to slow it down to like 0.5 and make the entire episode just that one section just super slow.
Damn it.
Mine's gonna be like,
wow.
Anyway, I thought that was a slight change of pace
That
for
was
us.
very
that would be
funny.
fun. And there are more. I only picked a few.
Find more of these at your local library. But you don't have to take our word for it.
quick discussion, just a quick reaction
Every episode.
before we hey,
Get that drop, by the way.
before we do.
Write that down, write that
get into
down.
Stuff.
That's what it was. Wait, Matt asked us last time. He goes, "What drop did you want?" And I couldn't remember it. It was the Reading Rainbow.
No, it's not. I know what it is. It's this.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
There we go. That'll make him happy for about Christmas present.
That was it. That was it.
I know.
Good job, Matt.
Continue, Ben.
So it was announced this week that Kevin Hart's going to be the
Ooh.
Academy Awards host. What do you guys think? And that they're not.
I don't care.
And that they're not doing all of the awards live. They're going to do a lot in commercial breaks and then do a quick little recap after the commercial break. So they're only doing 14 live.
See, here's what I would do. I would actually, I mean, this was a historic disaster and widely regarded as the worst hosts of the Oscars ever. But I would bring back Annie Hathaway, my girl Annie Hathaway, and James Franco only as Tommy Wiseau. That way, he wouldn't phone it in this time. If he could do it in character, I feel like he'd give it his all. Think about that.
I think the Me Too is going to have a little bit of an issue with that.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's
going to
true.
be tricky.
Okay, how about this? Anne Hathaway and Tommy Wiseau.
that I would watch.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway as Tommy Wiseau, as James Franco as Tommy Wiseau.
Correct.
Wow.
Now, I think I've gotten to the point with the Oscars where I realize I don't think they're ever going to get a new audience, no matter how hard they try.
Right.
I think they need to lean into the things that have worked historically for the audience that watches them, which
I
is
agree.
geeks like us and
I agree.
a lot of, frankly, a lot of gay guys, a lot of people that watch award shows all the time.
Mothers.
Mothers.
Yeah, mothers. Yeah.
Like, remember that episode in Better Call Saul this year where like the young.
Spoilers.
No, there's nothing plot
no,
related.
right.
But where it's the young Jimmy and when he's
Yeah.
in and he's walking through and
We see young Jimmy?
Younger.
younger, like
Yeah.
not young, not
Asshole.
You've seen Slip and Jimmy like this
I'm
before.
joking.
You see, it's after Slip and Jimmy,
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
But where they're going around talking about the Oscar poll with everybody,
Yes.
and it's like, I was like, I remember that. Whenever there was like some sort of like it was before everybody had like odds on. I don't know.
Yes,
It was
yes.
just very. I was like, oh man, I'm nostalgic for those days in like 2000 and 2001.
It's- and it's-
Wow, that's
and
actually kind of
And
poignant.
it's not just because it's our anniversary, but the Hugh Jackman hosted Academy Awards is my favorite hosting job and my favorite opening number
Anniversary.
of it is Ben and mine's anniversary. We met that night.
We did.
And,
Life was never the same.
And I took his lady home, but his ex lady home. But anyway, so
Jesus.
where's the lost thud?
Good thing we never edit anything out of this podcast.
I'll keep my bad shit in. But
The awkward sophisticate.
I thought the Hugh Jackman opening, there was a big musical number and it was done super silly and ridiculous and brought
great.
all the people out. It was perfect. And I grew up on fucking Billy Crystal doing
Oh, yeah.
a great
The
number.
gold
Just
standard.
fucking lean into the old shit. You're not getting any new viewers. It's not going to happen. I like Kevin Hart. I don't love his stand up.
No, and
I like
that's
him
what
better in a
that's what Beth and I were
performance
saying.
capacity. And if they give him enough bits to do, he could work. But I don't like the stand up. It's too fast. He's great on SNL. When he's in a sketch, he's actually really funny in a sketch on SNL. I just don't
the
like
problem
that.
is never the
stand-up.
host. And the thing is,
Yeah, you're right.
If you get offered to host the Oscars, take that job. Because what's going to happen is no matter how good you are, if you're not Billy Crystal, you'll get reamed for a week. and you'll ride that momentum to another project. It's never hosting the Oscars has never ruined a career.
Well, and that was what I was about
It's
to
not like Cabin Boy ruined the career of Chris Elliott.
It almost ruined Letterman for a while after
my-
his Academy Awards. It was pretty
There was a
bad.
cameo in that movie. It was like
No. I'm saying his Academy Awards because he did the Cabin Boy reference in it. He
my
doubled
God.
down on like a bad time.
it was not a bad time. Anyone listening should seek out Cabin
You
Boy.
need to read that article, my friend. You're going to lose your shit.
already read it.
Oh, that's long. I couldn't get through all of it.
And I am mad you didn't assign Cabin Boy to me tonight
Sure.
for the musical. I
Would've
would
been a fancy
I would
boy.
have crushed that.
All right. So
So yeah, I that's my take. That's all of our takes.
Here's
I
the thing
guess,
about
is-
the Oscars. I don't like them anymore because the past. I mean, I used to really look forward to that date was circled on my calendar. In the past 3
we're having a
years,
fucking party this year, man.
the past 3 years. Well, I can get into that, but
I'll host, man.
for the past 3 years.
Down.
You'll host the Oscars.
Yeah, I'll
better
host
than Kevin
Oscars.
Hart. I don't know about that.
Ooh, can we do competing hosts where Ben Wilson hosts how he would host the Oscars over Kevin Hart?
I'll do that on the podcast. I will literally like write my opening monologue. I'm telling you
Let's
right now. that I
all
would do
write
that.
an opening monologue.
Ooh, I like this.
Let's monologue off.
Our Oscar week podcast. We will do our bid
We'll monologue
Before,
off.
and
to
we'll
be
monologue
better.
off.
We'll monologue off.
All I'm saying is, past 3 years, I've tied in the pool, and lost the tiebreaker 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row.
Okay.
And the first year, David Egan totally fucked me over. If he's listening, which he's not, I'll tell him to listen. Dave Egan, you fucked me over on the rules, and you gave it to somebody
Dave
else.
Egan at 24 minutes and 42
thank you.
seconds. Go back.
Earmark
in there.
it. Okay. All right, we can move on now.
All right, we want to get to the main event, which is we have all been assigned a movie to translate into a musical.
Not Cabin Boy, Psycho,
Not Cowboy.
or
But we are going to essentially pitch our musical to the other people here in the room using whatever we want, which typically for us involves recording some samples of songs. We might go over some plot if whatever is necessary. We might have a unique casting choice for some of it. I don't know. Mine this year didn't. I did a lot for the Princess Bride. I did a lot of casting stuff, but
I burned all my calories on the production of the actual song, so I don't know if I have a lot of extra.
yeah, I think I
don't really
kind
know.
of because of that. I think I want to lead off with Nick because I think he is the most polished and produced of us here.
I don't have a lot of extras there.
So Nick, tell us about what musical you were given.
So I will say this much. I started working on an Orgasmo musical because of the joke from that podcast that I was going to flip flop, even though I chose. And then I went public with Beetlejuice. I did try it, and it wasn't clicking. And then the Beetlejuice song started to kind of flow. So I did Beetlejuice, which is Matt's suggestion, which is a favorite movie of mine. It's a favorite score.
Yeah.
And I'm a Danny Elfman fanboy, and still it's like way up there. So it was a little daunting, believe it or not. Even though it's just a little podcast, like I was like, "Fuck! What if Danny Elfman listens to our podcast one day? Kind of make it really good."
Danny Elfman listens to the podcast. This musical episode is the least of our worries, but continue.
So it started kind of flowing. So I kind of went with it. But the funny thing is that you told us last time that there is a Beetlejuice musical, and apparently it's really bad.
Yes.
I tried to
People are
listen
still
to,
working on it. Like,
Yes,
right
yeah,
now.
it's in like previews and testing.
Well, let's
That's
send.
not going well.
Well, I got something for you. I got the first opening track where of course Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are they're on vacation. They're kind of a staycation, and that's the name of the track, Staycation. It opens up the movie, and it's sort of a love song duet, kind of about their love, and just kind of setting the tone for the musical.
Do you want to, for anyone out there, I don't imagine there's anyone out there that hasn't seen Beetlejuice, but do you want to kind of set up a little bit of the story?
Sure. So we open with two characters whose names I do not remember, played by Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. Do you know?
Yeah. Hold on.
The Martindales or
No. The Dietzes are the other couple, and Barbara and Adam. Adam.
Yep.
Barbara and Adam.
Yeah.
I know it's Barbara.
Is it
He
Barbara?
goes,
No, I was thinking Alan.
Alan, Barbara,
Alec,
and
anyway, it's Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, and
Yes.
they're a couple, and they are kind of.
It's Alan.
All right,
I'm just pretty sure because I'm trying to think of the
All right.
lines of the movie. Alan, I want to be. I could be
wait,
wrong.
is
though.
Alec Baldwin in The Shadow too?
he is. We did the
Oh,
double with Alec
shit.
Baldwin.
Wow.
Two Baldwins.
Adam, he plays Adam. She plays
Okay,
Barbara.
I was wrong.
Okay, so
The Maitlands.
Maitland. I know it was an
That's
M.
it, yeah.
So the Maitlands are kind of on a staycation, It's I don't think it's their house, but they are kind of staying they're getting away from their troubles, kind of in the country, and kind of reconnecting with each other. And they're a really sweet couple. You could tell that they're really meant to be together, and they just want to kind of get away from their troubles for a little bit. And it's working pretty good at first. And that's where we start with the musical.
All right, so this is the first track from Beetlejuice, Staycation.
I love this little sleepy town and its winding country roads. Driving through a quaint covered bridge and...
Watch for this dog! So that's the first song.
Well done, sir.
Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, unfortunately, at the very beginning of the movie, meet an untimely demise by trying to avoid an animal going through a Bridges of Madison County-esque... What did I say? Midget of Madison County?
Midget of Madison County.
I didn't say Madison. Anyway, all right, listen. All right, so I said a word wrong, all right? You crucify me. So they die, and this begins the movie. I mean, they're barely on screens, the movie's barely started.
Is it a cinematic musical or a stage musical? That's a good question, actually.
It was a stage musical.
Okay. It's a movie.
Well, I'm explaining the plot because some people haven't. I'm kind of walking them through.
Gotcha.
You know what? Let's let the viewers use their imagination how you would stage it. Maybe there's some interesting network type things you could do, but I'm just going to go with the plot. Okay.
All right.
So they realize that they're dead, and they realize that because when they walk back into the house, they find a handbook for the recently deceased, which is a track number. I didn't write that song. I didn't have enough time to write handbook. That is the second song. They realize something's going on. They
what would
read
the
through
musical
it.
styling have been like for Handbook of the Recently Deceased? What kind of number do you feel it would have been?
Well,
Like a genre.
I mean, the thing is, I want it to feel kind of elfin-y, the whole musical.
Okay.
But you'll see there are some flourishes coming up. Basically, they live in this house. They realize they can't escape. Every time they try to go out for the front, once they get back, they end up in this strange dimension with a crazy sandworm monster, and they realize they're trapped. Something's going on. The realization comes that they are dead. And enter Sylvia Sidney's character, Juno, the caseworker, right? The caseworker, they call her? Mm-hmm. Explains kind of the situation. They're stuck there. There are going to be phantoms that are going to haunt the house. They can't escape. They kind of just have to go with it. The thing that happens is a new family moves in after they're dead, and they can't see or hear them. They feel helpless. They feel like their whole house has been taken over, but they do feel a little connection to the gothic teenage daughter, Lydia Dietz. Everyone else is terrible. The mother is Catherine O'Hara, this like kind of failed, pretentious artist, and Lydia's paternal father, who is clearly going through a midlife crisis, and they move into the house, and Catherine O'Hara immediately starts changing everything, changing the decor, moving her art in, and they don't like him at all. They don't like this at all. They can't scare him out. They don't know how to be ghosts yet, but they do like Lydia Dietz, the teenage daughter. And so this brings us to the next track. OG, Original Goth, the Lydia Dietz song. A little self-aware. took me a really long time to get that tone.
So Nick hired Evanescence to.
I was about to say, I was like, that's like Metric versus She Wants Revenge.
Yeah,
I was going for a little Depeche Mode.
Yeah,
there.
Depeche Mode too.
By the way,
was that Lindsay?
There's also some serious Paula Abdul in there. It's like I'm.
You know, you
got it.
You
don't know.
Oh, you bastard! You totally caught it.
Go.
I was hoping you were going to
So
realize
that is by far the best produced thing we're going to hear tonight.
Damn it!
My thing
Fuck
sounds
me.
like a fucking turd, like just a piece of.
It's okay. We're
shit
still on.
compared
But
to
you caught
That's
the
awesome, though.
You had a real girl on yours. The first real girl that's appeared on the podcast other than
not
Ben's
just
wife.
not
I mean,
just
my
a real
God.
girl, Lindsay Dommel, my frequent collaborator, was on Shape of Tones as Khaleesi. She's amazing, and she killed it. She's like, she's a mother. She's busy as hell, and she's
not going to take it anymore.
I sent her notes. She did like 2 versions of this. She like totally was a huge champ, and anyway,
Well,
That's awesome.
thank you so much. That's amazing. That's
Lindsay-
easily the best thing.
I hope
we've been
Lindsay
hearing.
listens to the podcast because
Yeah.
for some reason I think that wouldn't she like it?
well now she should. I mean,
I
she
think
has
she should.
vested interest now.
I think that you have to
That's
share.
how we.
it directly
That's
with
how we
her.
get. That's how we get listeners. We force them to collaborate
Just
on things,
collaborate
and
on
then
everybody.
they have to listen out of
Until
narcissism.
she hears my shit alongside her shit, she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh God!"
Oh, what the
Like when
fuck?
Ben like competed against those little kids in the singing competition.
Al, don't bring that up.
Well, now you got to tell the story.
Okay, please continue. Please
Yes,
continue
please
with
continue.
Beetlejuice.
Next podcast.
Next podcast. See, you say a word wrong too. I don't give you a hard time about it, although I did. Anyway, thank you, Lindsay. And you know what? Lydia Dietz really did set me up for my 7 years of art school. I got to say, it did condition me. And I think about it. That was my first.
Art school crush.
Yeah, I would say that too. And I would say that that maybe conditioned me a little bit. But anyway,
Okay.
Lydia Dietz, although she was like 13 years old in that, so.
Winona
I never
Ryder
seen
wasn't.
a goth girl until Beetlejuice though. That was like a new thing, So that was a little self-aware. But anyway, that's Lydia's song. So, man, I don't know if I've had a couple of
sorry,
whiskeys. I don't know if I can even get to the plot of this. We'll just move.
We
move
can't.
along.
I'm so excited because so last time we did the musicals, Ben and Nick hid the titles of their tracks, so I just saw like Nick 1, Nick 2,
Right.
but you guys did not do that this time. And the title of Nick's next song has been staring at me the entire podcast, and it took everything out
We'll
from
get
me
into
to
it
not
fast.
listen to
We'll get into it fast.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Basically, Catherine O'Hara, Lydia's mom, hears her talking to ghosts, and she realizes, Lydia's connecting with ghosts and a higher power, and let's get our friend Otho, who's super into spiritual weird shit, to come in and do a seance and figure out, are we being haunted? Can we bring these ghosts out? Also, there's the whole main plot of Beetlejuice, who was a evil. I skirted over that, but you've all seen Beetlejuice. I don't need to fucking get into it. Beetlejuice is like
I just
trying
want to give you a little more to work with.
whatever. You've all
Okay.
seen Beetlejuice. So they're at the seance, and this is the seance song.
Can you please tell
No,
us?
we'll tell it later.
Oh, okay.
Don't want to.
I've been waiting for this all night.
Shrimp hands, me say shrimp hands. Tonight all of the shrimp's gone bad. Shrimp. Me say shrimp, me say shrimp, me say shrimp, me say shrimp, me say shrimp hands. Tonight all of the shrimp's gone bad. Work all day setting up sets. Tonight all of the shrimp's gone bad. Catherine O'Hara should serve croissants. Tonight all of the shrimp's gone bad. Come, Mr. Otham, and summon us a phantom.
Phantom.
Tonight all of the shrimp's gone bad.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't do the whole song.
I don't even know where to begin of all my favorite parts of that, but one of them is that throughout all of this, Catherine O'Hara's character is referred to as Catherine O'Hara, even in song,
I know.
even in musical form.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's just Catherine O'Hara.
It's
I
got
love
a good,
it.
Just got a good ring to it,
Shrimp's Gone Bad is
Shrimp's Gone
the
Bad.
best title. If I was at a musical and I opened up the playbill and in the track list was Shrimp's Gone Bad, I go, I made a good choice tonight.
Well, it was originally Shrimp Hands, and then I thought it kind of gave it away. So during the seance, they break into Harry Belafonte spontaneously, and their shrimp cocktail turns into a monster that grabs them and pulls them into the table in a famous scene. So, God, going through this plot line, people have seen Beetlejuice. We don't have to get into the weeds of Beetlejuice, right? If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, you should. And if you haven't, you know what's going to happen next. We'll fast forward to the climactic ending, where we've skirted over Beetlejuice this entire time. But Beetlejuice is found out if you say his name 3 times, he is summoned, and if he can marry a mortal, he can maybe join the mortal world for good and leave his limbo in the weird Tim Burton ghost world.
It's showtime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm muddling up the plot, but you get the idea. The climactic scene is Beetlejuice trying a devious plot to marry Lydia Dietz and return to the human world.
Just say it.
That he's been shunned from. And now you get to hear my impression of Beetlejuice, which is really just my impression of Rick from Rick and Morty, as it turns out.
I thought it was going to sound like Greg Klein, because that Beetlejuice just sounds like Greg Klein to me.
I tried my best. Well, that's true, too. I tried my best.
Do we want to give the title of the song, or do we want to just go into it?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
I can only see parts of it.
It's Ghost with the most.
There we go. You
nice.
mean I could have actually just done...
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
There we go. So here we go. Ghost with the Most from Beetlejuice the Musical by Nick Santacroce.
Do you, Lydia Dietz, take this ghoul, Beetlejuice, as your lawful wedded husband, now in the moment of his death?
You're a little late there, bud. You mean if I die again? Because I've been dead for a long time, so I call me the ghost with the most, babe. You're not interested in that. All you need to know is that I'm trying to get into the real world. Find some mortals, say my name 3 times, and then it's like a fucked up Rumpelstiltskin. But hey, we got our loved ones here. We got a 13-year-old girl under a spell. Let's get this show on the road. I got an animated series to get to. It's finished. It's over. You've all been beaten by a character famously played by Mike Keaton. If you want to go far and garner fame, then all you gotta do is say my name. Haters might say that this is taboo, but that red dress looks so good on you, Lydia. Sorry, I have some real questionable views on women. It doesn't age well. What is his name? Well, if you ever bothered to pick up an astronomy book, maybe you'd know I'm the brightest star in Orion's belt. Look it up. What is his name? Well, sure, it's spelled differently. It's like beetle, like the bug, and juice, like juice, because I eat beetles, and it's a play on words. Ghost with the most. I'm Beetlejuice. I'm Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here! Nice fucking model!
Very nice.
Nice impression, by the way. I think that you did the vocalizations of Beetlejuice World. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a solid A, man.
I was coughing up blood by the end of that.
That was
session.
fucking great. That was your best song. That was a great song.
Some rejected tracks were "No One Understands My Genius," which was the Catherine O'Hara song. I don't think we survived that crash.
That's a good one.
Which was Sylvia Sidney's song and the football players. And then The Waiting Room reprise.
Ooh,
I'm just waiting in the waiting room.
That.
Yeah, the shrunken head guy.
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I will fund.
It's definitely better than whatever's out there.
Well, it's definitely better than what you're about to hear.
I don't want to disparage Alex Brightman, who I'm sure is a talented.
You looked up who actually did the other one.
No, Alex Brightman is Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's the gentleman.
Listen, if you sing and your last name is Brightman, I'm going to at least give you the benefit of the doubt.
Not Elfman, but Brightman.
Well, Sarah Brightman is famously from, of course,
true.
Repo the musical.
Repo, the genetic opera.
You could go. You know, she's done a lot of other better things. But
didn't I send you tickets to go see Repo? I did.
You sure did.
Back in 2007.
You sure did.
I sent you free tickets to go see Repo the Genetic
Me and Michael Maroney went to that pre-screening. It wasn't out for another like 2 weeks.
And I believe
It went on for like another month and a half. It was crazy.
Which, by the way, like while we're on the subject, Repo the Genetic Opera is super worthwhile, and I only wish I could see it in its first form in this sort of avant-garde underground LA theater scene. It evolved and became a movie starring Paris Hilton. But
I did not know that.
Well, she has like a bit role in it.
She plays herself in it. She's fine, you know,
Yeah.
and barely in it. But it's a really bizarre like post-apocalyptic
It's got
sci-fi.
It's got Alexis Denisoff from
Yeah.
who you were talking about. You're like, who is this guy from Much Ado About Nothing?
Yeah.
And I was just like, he was on like every episode of Buffy.
And no one phones it in. It's about a future where like your organs start to fail because the environment's so bad, and a company gets the patent on artificial organs, but in order to get that, you sell your soul. You sell all your money, and society's
And
fucked.
so people have to go back and repossess the organs.
And yeah, so when you default on your payment, they take your lungs back. They take your heart back. It's super dark and gothic, and
it's also got kind of a weird, like, sort of proto-mini vibe, like a lot of the music does.
Well, don't you drag the Proto Man into that?
Okay.
Maybe the original musical was, but the movie is still not bad. Anyway,
All right.
There you go.
You or me, Ben? Who do you want to go next?
It's up to you, man.
I'm gonna go. Let's finish on you again because I don't want to finish on mine. I feel bad for the audience on this one.
I want to finish on you.
Say it in your sexy reading voice.
I want to finish on you.
You want to finish on me like you finished? Like,
Wow.
Like Usain Bolt finished in that race.
Like my French girls.
First.
In my musical, it's so soft and then suddenly hard.
And then soft and hard again.
My manhood is ready.
So I was given the enviable task of turning the Zucker Brothers 1998 movie BASEketball, starring the creators of South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, into a musical. And I'm going to try to not deal with too much of the plot in here. I'm just going to set up the songs, but
it's very complicated.
The general plot of it is that, and I've updated this, you know, I'm doing a musical now in 2018. This is now 20 years later. So, in the original,
nice.
In the original,
shit.
they don't like the consumerism of sports seems to be the main thing, but I've turned it more into people just annoyed with like all of the fucking bullshit they've seen in sports, whether it's kneeling, whether it's that there's like people are getting concussions, whatever, all this stuff that's going on in sports. People are just getting kind of tired of it. And so you're
making it socially relevant.
I tried a little bit. So our main character, Joe Cooper Smith, which I love that his nickname is Coop. He goes by Cooper Smith. It's never shortened necessarily. He's on his way to a party with some people from his high school, including his best friend Reamer. And as he's walking along the streets, he's walking.
I love BASEketball. I'm so excited for this.
So the way I was staging this is that he's walking past houses that have TVs on inside that are playing sports, and it's these guys inside the house just angrily. No, these guys angrily just talking about their frustration with sports. So this is kind of all of them. There's not different voices for this. I don't have the budget for me to do too much of that. But this song is called "Why Can't There Be One Great Sport?"
When I first got interested in sports, I was 7. When I consumed sports of every sort, I was 11. I watched them all, each fall, the greatest heroes a boy had ever found. That's what I thought then. That's what I thought then. Then adulthood rolled around. Don't kneel, penalty, concussions for MVPs. You're fine, chump, you're fine, chump. Now get yourself back in line, chump. Football's become an awful mess. Basketball is doing just as bad. Baseball's full of juicing brutes with tiny nuts. It's just sad. College sports are kinda lame. Players late and coaches paid, who cares? Bowl games cost you both your arms and both your legs for just one share. The other 10 sports anybody watches are so boring that you'll beg for death. But getting drunk when you're outside makes you feel like you're high on crystal meth. Strike 3, score more, dribbling balls, let's fuck some whores. Touchdown, double play, there must be a better way. Those damn sports games, why can't I leave them? I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. You're blind chump, you'll always toe the line, chump. Why can't there be one great sport?
So that's the opening of
you're a
our
wordsmith.
show, and that was from Damn Yankees, 6 months out of every year. By the way,
yes, I'm not. Say, hey, by the way, so I think already Nick wins best producer of the night
for sure,
best lyricism of the night.
Yeah. Just
quite
you wait.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
I love musicals, and I'm not cultured enough to know that was Damn Yankees.
The only
which makes sense because the Yankees are a professional baseball team.
Literally, the only reason I chose to do BASEketball is I go, I can definitely work in a Damn Yankees song. It's one of my favorite fucking musicals. It's great. So. Anyway, Coop is on his way to this party. He and his best buddy Reamer are kind of fuck ups. They haven't amounted to anything. They get up there. They meet these fucking yuppies. They're all there. They're looking down on them. They're doctors. They're lawyers. These guys are just layabouts. They don't do anything. These two fucking jocks are kind of outside and like, oh, there's a basketball hoop. Let's play some hoops. And Coop, thinking on his feet, knows he can't best these guys athletically, but he's a really good shot. He just, as long as there's no jumping or running or any athleticism involved, he can kind of shoot. So he decides to pitch them a fake game that he makes up on the spot, and he calls it BASEketball, which leads us to our titular song. Whenever I see someone who wants to play some hoops, and let's face it, who doesn't want to play some hoops? They mean that pussy jackass 2-on-2. Cause that someone needs a brand new game, one that will bring me grand new fame. I know exactly what they need. And even rich assholes. And you're the biggest ones I've yet to face. Don't worry, while Joe Cooper takes the lead and Reamer smokes the weed. And yes, indeed, you will play BASEketball. You're gonna play BASEketball. I'll teach you to shoot the hoops, making loop-de-loops, little ways to score and win. I'll show you how a single's done, how to shoot home runs, everything that really counts to play BASEketball. I'll help you learn BASEketball.
Yes!
A psych out's the key to win. I fucked your sister, Lynn. That's just the way the game is played. So let's start, cause me and Reamer both need to get laid. Don't be offended by my dank and hurtful quips, like when I say that your mom's pubes are on my lips, or that I like to chug spoiled milk and bagel sips. You're a chota boy who surely will annoy dudes when it comes to BASEketball. I know about BASEketball, and I know that someday the sport will surely pay with its very own Super Bowl. There's nothing that can stop me from winning at BASEketball. Ball? Fuck your mom. We're gonna play some BASEketball. And so we...
A lot of references there.
There were the...
Lots of references.
Matt was like Ed Wood, mouthing the lyrics as he played off to the
pussy ass
sideline.
2-on-2 is my favorite because that has an actual line from it. And the Chota Boy was my second favorite.
Not lost on me.
That pussy ass 2-on-2 like you play, do it like we do in the streets.
No, you said down the hood.
Down the hood, yeah.
Chota Boy is the Orgasmo reference.
I know. That was a deep dive with Squeak.
Tied it together.
So these two guys, they line up with their sometimes friend Kenny Squeak Scolari, and they start up a league.
Star of
I knew someone.
Star of Squeak. If you can hear me, the Squeak Scolari is
There we go. There we go.
That's a
I was
callback.
waiting for that to come back in because that's a little important. It'll be important at some point. Here, but
Nice. I'm so excited.
so
Did I mention back at that episode that I knew someone who dated Squeaks Glory? I
no,
probably did.
you did
no,
not.
No, I didn't know that.
I know someone who personally went on like 5
Dean
dates.
Bakar.
I'm not gonna. I
No,
can't.
no, his name is Dean. His
know
name
that.
is
Is it somebody I know?
No,
Okay.
Is it Luke Stevens?
it is.
Can we just say
Sorry,
it's Luke
you
Stevens?
know
Okay, it's
him.
Luke
You know
Stevens.
him. I'm sorry.
That's how
You're
I blew
right.
out that. The
You
blood
do know
vessel
him. He
thing.
did,
So
and they totally consummated.
So Coop and Reamer, they start playing this around the neighborhood. It gains a lot of attention. This big rich billionaire Denslow decides that he wants to fund the NBL, the National Basketball League, and they go on and they form a team called the Beers, the Milwaukee Beers.
I love this movie.
It's a great movie.
Do you have a whole? Please tell me you have a whole song of people just saying "dude, dude."
I
Do you?
almost went
Dude.
that way. I went a slightly different way. In fact, you know what? We'll just skip to that song. It doesn't matter. This song can come at any point in the show. I kind of thought it might come a little bit later, but there was some confusion when they first started the
Heard
team.
that a lot in my life.
There was some confusion. They're called the Milwaukee Beers, but then the people also like to drink beers, and there's some confusion between the two of them. And this song is, of course, called Beers. Beers. The Milwaukee Beers are my favorite team.
Beers, I like to drink them with heads of cream.
Beers. That's the team that's gonna win the Denslow Cup.
Frothy, tasty, hoppy, palesy lagers. I love to drink up all the
Beers. You can drink your suds while you watch the game.
beers. Guess the psychouts make the game much less lame.
Why don't we combine both things?
Drinking and watching beers. While we jam out 2 tears for
That
beers.
took a weird turn here.
Tears for beers.
Beers.
I like my beers like I like my women, 5 or 6 at a time.
Beers. You know, I think I might be gay. Beers.
What the fuck? Well, that took a left turn right there.
When you're drinking, liquid courage is pouring. But let's get back to watching beers.
Play the Dallas Falcons this Thursday night.
Beers. Next, the Buffalo Bums put up quite a fight.
Then there's the Charlotte Biscuits. They leave their foes in tears.
Let's get drunk while we watch the beers.
So,
Beers. The Beers.
I was literally just trying to figure of like, what would be a weird thing to have two people just bond over songs? Like, we could just talk about anything.
What musical is that?
That's from Bye Bye Birdie, sung by Paul Lynde. Kids.
Oh
I don't
my-
know what's wrong with these kids today.
stop it.
I had to do a Paul Lynde in there.
Wow.
So now
Tears for beers. Did you make a tears for? Wow.
If he had heard that from beyond the grave, he would say, "You did a great job,
like,
kid."
hey, with that one.
I'm head over heels for that tears for beers
Well,
reference.
very well done. So, of course, there must be a villain in any story, and there's the evil Baxter
Jenny
Kane.
McCarthy?
Well, Baxter Kane and Jenny McCarthy. so the rich gentleman passes away. He leaves the team to Coop to run himself. But one of the rival owners, the owner of the Dallas Felons, Baxter Kane, decides to team up with
Jerry Jones.
with the rich man's young, very attractive now widow to try to
Ex-host of Singled Out by MTV.
yeah, that's right. To try to monetize the league. And this is where we get our villain song, which is one of Nick's favorite Disney songs that I've taken on here. This one's
prepared.
called Let's Get Paid.
I knew it. I knew it. You son of a bitch.
I did.
Your dear husband's death was our big break. Monetizing the leagues in our sight. Of course, with the money that's at stake. At least one of them has to bite. I'll dangle the power and money. So Reamer will do as I please. And Cooper won't be feeling sunny when I trade all his friends for MVPs. Now get ready to rake in the bullion, such as sights on our shiny new prize.
You've polished those doorknobs, now let's fleece these poor snobs. The hitch has been sucked clean, no more chrome for my queen. When Cooper's defeated, he will be excreted, then picked from my stool like a corn.
Jesus.
And it's then that we'll both have it made. Let's get paid.
I like it.
And it's then that we'll both have it made. Let's get paid. And so
you hit that note, by the way. Then
and the last one I'm okay at. It's in my
How many
range.
takes did that take?
That one actually
34?
was the least of all. I know that song really well. That one took me about 2. The other ones took me a lot more.
Matt has been singing Jeremy Irons in the shower for decades.
Now I have one final song, and this is this hit goes out number 1 with a bullet to Nick Santacroce. So through a lot of sets of conveniences, they come down to this final game, and Coop is running late to get to the game, and they don't know what to do, and it comes down to just one man that has the chance to keep the game alive, and unfortunately that man is Squeak Scolari.
Oh.
And this is in his famous ballad, Scolari, which has a little bit of some acting on the front side of it.
And in the bottom of the 6th with 2 down, that brings up Squeak Scolari.
Ah, God, I knew it was going to come down to me. I just knew it. Relax, dude. It's not just you. We're a team.
Yes, it all comes down to just one man.
Oh, God. Listen to me, dude. If I could have one guy out there right now, one guy, it'd be you.
And unfortunately, that one man is Squeak Scolari.
Oh, shit. Listen, pretend this is just another game.
This Denslow Cup is, of course, the biggest game of the season.
Oh, Christ. You grow up. I'm so scared. The most terrible sound I ever heard. Scolari. 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 Oh, the worst syllables of the world in a single word. Scolari. 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 The announcer just called me Scolari. But I'm a little bitch, a pussy who gets ditched. Fuck me. Scolari. The game has come down to Scolari. And now I'm freaking out. What if I get struck out? Fuck me. Scolari. Say it loud and they'll tell me to shove it. Say it soft and maybe they'll love it.
It's my favorite one.
Scolari. Just wait. Oh, please just stop saying Scolari. Scolari.
Oh, God.
Scolari.
Oh, my God.
Scolari. 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 Scolari, Scolari,
Oh my God.
Scolari, Scolari. If I do this, then maybe they'll love me. When I screw this little bitch for eternity. Scolari. Oh, fuck me. I'm just Squeak Scolari.
Goddamn beautiful.
But Squeak keeps it alive. Coop comes back. They win the game, and everyone lives happily ever after.
And more importantly, Coop has sex with Yasmin Bleeth.
Yasmin Bleeth.
Yasmin Bleeth.
Yasmin Bleeth.
I used to love Yasmin Bleeth.
Who didn't love Yasmin
watched
Bleeth?
BASEketball.
Yasmin Bleeth was the B team. Everyone was like Pamela Anderson. And
Fuck no. Yasmin Bleeth was
Gina,
so much better.
what's her name?
Lee Nolan? No.
Gina Lee Nolan?
Yasmin Bleeth is the one. She's
Thank
the
you.
one.
Thank you.
Davis? Maybe
We got
just
a lot of-
me in 1994.
We got a lot of Baldwins. We got a lot of Davis in this.
In 94, it was between 2 women, Pamela Anderson and Gina Lee Davis.
Gina Lee Nolan. Gina Lee Nolan.
Anyway,
Listen, this is the most press she's gotten in like a decade. 2 references.
Probably.
You mean Yasmin Bleeth or Gina Lee Nolan?
Well,
Either or.
If you're listening, Yasmin. Come on in. Let's talk. Let's hang out.
I love
do it.
Yasmin Bleeth.
All right, Benny. That was BASEketball the musical.
Very good.
And
That
now
was super good. By the way, hey, come on. I love it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
Give us
All
a
right.
Beth. Give us a Beth. Go ahead. Give us a Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
There
We
you
do.
go.
We do.
I believe her when she says it.
Again,
She doesn't just say that when I push a button.
But both of you guys are so good at the faux modesty. You guys could write a patent on the faux modesty.
That's not good recording. The lyrics are fine, but the music's not great, or the vocals are not great.
They're
The music's
classics.
wonderful
They're
because they're
musical
classic.
classics.
Well, you'll
Was
notice
that Maria?
Classics.
Maria?
By the way, I'm running out of shows I did in high school.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, well, that's West
Damn
Side.
Yankees, Bye Bye Birdie, West Side Story.
I knew West Side. It's the only
The
one I
only
knew.
one that was new to me was Popular, and man, is that a fucking hard song to lyricize against. The rhymes in that song are fucking ridiculous.
But you did a really good job.
That I want to say this right now to the guys that
BASEketball.
wrote the song
Wicked.
Popular. It is a much more complex song lyrically than I ever fucking thought it was. It's super difficult.
That whole musical it's really difficult.
I love the show, but that song gets drowned by Defying Gravity, which is musically more interesting, but lyrically there's not as much going on.
There's lots of stuff, especially
Sure.
in like the
I've-
little interludes in
I'm
between. Where there's lots of
I've
interesting.
always been. And listen, speaking as a guy who has never seen the musical or know really anything about it, I've always enjoyed Popular the most.
It's a great song lyrically.
There's
So
that.
all right, Benny, you're batting cleanup.
Okay, so my only
Squeak Squilari this home.
My only introduction, because I actually did narration in the first track.
Oh,
So I
can
won't
I-
have to do anything and say anything. So
You know
let
what?
me just make an introduction.
Well, I think
Say anything? Peter Gabriel?
We already knew this because
The Shadow knows.
Oh wow!
right, yeah.
Is that from the Alec Baldwin movie?
That's
That drop?
Alec Baldwin post trailer when he sounded different.
So, yeah, my movie was the 1994 film The Shadow, which is based off of my favorite 1930s radio play.
Jesus.
I say that both ironically and non-ironically.
Best pitch meeting ever. I'd like to pitch you a musical based on the yes.
I'll buy it.
So I'll get into it in a little bit, but you can start the first track, which is The Shadow Knows. But what I will preface this is I started with something a little bit more concerted when it comes to musical. I was like, I'm going to stick with a theme as far as the musical is concerned, or the music is concerned. And I completely abandoned that for a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Oh.
So
The Shadow knows.
I love this
Right.
So
Here we go. Well, this is your big song.
Metallica? Fuck yeah.
Ooh.
Unforgiven. 2.
Nepal, the 1920s. The war is over, but Lamont Cranston, son of a rich American oil tycoon, has fallen victim to his heart's darkest impulses. Taking the name of Yenko, he rules as a drug lord and slaughters native villages to demonstrate his mercilessness and power. A holy man, the Tulku, kidnaps Yenko to reveal the darkness of his own heart.
Nice.
Let's hear it.
Who dares to challenge me? Will that they will ensue? I'll not be trifled with, and death will find you soon. The holy man you claim, what good am I to you? My heart's as black as tar. You've nothing left to prove except to see the rage inside of me will never go away. What left have you to say? That's your name. You slipped away and you're ashamed. You still don't see you'll never be escaping from your pain. Learn from me and you will see how to cloud the senses and the brain. Use dark heart for the common good. All you have to do is train.
Nice.
Do a little.
Understand that you can leave all your sordid history. Understand that you won't find any further peace of mind. Use your power, use your sin. No evil's in the hearts of men. Go back home and fight for good. Time to go rejoin the living. Whoa, whoa.
Ooh. Oh, shit.
Shit.
Queen?
For 7 years, the Tulku trains Lamont, teaching him how to cloud men's minds. Cranston returns to New York and fights all of the agents of darkness.
Bryan Cranston.
This city feels so hollow. All this scum, all these lows. But I'm a ghost.
Oh, trick me there.
It's like Daredevil.
The Shadow knows, I thought.
No crime goes undetected. No evil plot escapes my cloak. My power grows.
Nice.
What evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
There it is.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Won't see me right behind. I'm beautiful, battling crime. Unless our light is shine, I'll be there in your mind, and you'll be blind.
Okay, let's let it go for a second.
Yes.
That's what I meant. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Because you mentioned The Shadow. I had to watch it because
No
I
one
want to be very.
escapes my cloak.
His laughter is so ridiculous in
So
the movie,
ridiculous.
and it was such a bigger part of it than I ever thought it was. So the first time I heard the laugh in there, I'm like, oh, this is fucking gold.
That's
Right now.
So it has to. Well, and like I said, so I'll just go through it and we'll talk about it for a second right afterwards. But anyways, so the Shadow is now fighting crime in New York, and has agents working for him all over the city, and fights all the mob and all of the dark people using his dark powers and his dark heart as a power for good. But is confronted by weird visions, and one day, as he's receiving messages about things going awry in the city, is approached in his own lair by a guy who introduces himself as Shuan Khan, the last descendant of Genghis Khan, who plans on bringing the Mongol Empire back to prominence, but also divulges that he was trained by the Tulku, the same person who trained the Shadow. So you can play Shuan Khan.
Shuan Khan.
This is my least favorite of what I recorded, though.
A little big segment.
And this is sung by Shuan Khan.
Shuan Khan.
So Shuan Khan approaches Cranston and gives him this sort of ultimatum at that point, in discussing what's going to happen in the immediate future.
I think these songs are very plot driven. I like this.
Come rule the world with me. To be here in this room. Into your head, no reason to dread this thing.
Musical interlude.
I like that he sounds very mystical in this.
Is Shaolin Khan?
Yeah.
Shewin Khan.
Calm down
Connie Chung.
and rule humanity. We'll let them see. Show how the shadow is a dream. Turn to the darkness instead. Don't you wonder? Our powers combined into our destiny is set to rule the world forever. No matter what, you won't stop the cons again. Before we meet again, I'm asking you. You can't defeat me because I killed the Doku.
As it's revealed that he killed the monks and the teachers that trained them. So as
These are really good versions of the songs too.
As Lamont Cranston, aka the Shadow, is dealing with all of this, he's also introduced to a young woman who has stricken him because of her apparent psychic ability. And her father, who runs the police department, has introduced them. And it's revealed that her father is a prominent scientist who is possibly working on some sort of doomsday mechanism. I don't know.
An atom
But her
bomb.
name is Margot Lane. So you can play Margot Lane.
You named your daughter after this character, didn't you?
Margot Luna Lane.
So Lamont Cranston knows that Margot is not good for him because she has the same telepathic powers that he does. She knows his secret and is convinced of her secret when Shewin Khan uses her to try and kill the Shadow.
Oh, you didn't.
You
son of a bitch. Really? Oh my God.
All right, hold on your butts.
I never meant to look inside your mind, Shadow.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
I never meant to see all of your pain.
Oh no. Oh no.
All I wanted is to extend and understand my gift. Only wanted you for both the loving and to train. Margot Lane, that's my name.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Though my dad is kind of lame. I love it. He's built a bomb, I'm afraid. He's being hypnotized by some guy I am sure's insane. I never said it wasn't a convenient plot device.
Oh my God.
So,
wow.
damn.
Holy
As it's
cow.
revealed that the entire city of New York is actually being hypnotized by Shewin Khan in order for him to enact a doomsday device to wipe out half of the eastern seaboard. The Shadow discovers his plot and faces him down in his own building, which everyone thinks is invisible.
Oh.
Or nobody thinks it's invisible because nobody sees it.
People keep walking,
Everybody
keep
else
walking into it.
So the Shadow approaches him, and Shewin Khan believes that he is too powerful for the Shadow to ever win. But the Shadow confronts him and shows him a little something, and you can play the last one.
Oh.
A little something, something.
This song is called The Shadow's Penis. So let's see what happens here.
Blue Oyster Cult and Prince, you son of a bitch. I got a fever.
I'll disable the bomb, well you know you can win. My psychic powers are far too strong now.
Yeah.
shoot your magical biting knife. I'll turn it on you before you turn around. Well, you thought that I was a hypnotist. Well, it turns out I've got telekinesis.
Kyle.
Oh, no. You Mongols got to go, 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 the shadow.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. New York's not gonna blow because the shadow.
The Shadow defeats Shu and Khan.
Oh my God.
And saves New York. And remains anonymous to the world. And as the world restores to normality, him and Margot connect and decide that they're better together than they are apart. And he kisses her, and as he walks away, she says, "How will you know how to find me?" He goes,
Do you want me to do it?
"I don't
laughs.
know."
The Shadow knows.
And then he laughs maniacally. I've never seen this movie. The laughter thing is kind of creeping me out.
Do you know how to bring me to orgasm?
The Shadow knows.
And that's the Shadow.
Can you fix my television?
The Shadow knows.
Television.
So you have to understand that since it was a serialized like 30s radio show, the laugh was the big thing that got everybody. Everybody knew the Shadow laugh.
I didn't know that, and so I watched the movie.
It's so
Most of the
ridiculous.
movie. I watched most of the movie.
It's over the top.
And I watched the trailer before they'd actually altered his voice, so it just sounds like it literally sounds like Alec Baldwin in a room with the not even the Buds reverb on. Like it sounds like he's doing it on a telephone. He's like, the Shadow knows.
That's funny.
It's terrible, but the laugh is everywhere in the movie, and it makes no sense. It's just like
It's
so
like,
cheesy.
it is so cheesy because but it's part of his thing. It's just like it's intimidation, basically. It's like, haha, you don't know where I am.
And it's so clearly Alec Baldwin not even like you just did a way better laugh than like Baldwin's just like and it's very strange.
Well, Paul
Anyways.
Lynde-esque.
So I think if
who knows how to end this podcast on a high note? But the Shadow knows.
The Shadow. Oh, I can't get over there that quick. I need some help with
I feel like mine's all over the place. I feel like
no. I think
it's a cohesive musical theme, like your last one. You know, this is more of a.
Well, I like that you
90s
go rock. Yeah, you go rock, and Nick went very much into the source material to do things that invoke what's going on. And all
You're
I
a
ever
classical
do is
musical.
I just do classical musical theater.
Yeah,
that's it. I think we have our niches now. I gotta say, I mean, I think we all improved.
it up. Oh yeah,
on our original musical.
When I do Cabin Boy for the next episode, I'm gonna fucking bring it.
Well, I think we go back next time. So this was our stretch, by the way. None of us picked necessarily the musical that we did.
true.
We had to do something that someone else said you do this for. So I think next time we'll go back to choosing our own.
Or we either go back to choosing our own, or we all put like 5 in a random hat, and we just have to draw it and have to deal with the shit that we do.
I kind of like being forced to
to go outside the. Because I mean, this could have been a Teen Wolf musical.
I can pick something that's perfectly catered to me that I already have an idea about, but I enjoyed this. I like.
Okay, I mean, I'd like to hear your Cabin Boy musical. That's the only reason I say it.
That's what I was saying. Is like
you'll hear it regardless. I'm doing it as soon as I can.
If we all put like 3 to 5 choices in a hat and chose them, we're all going to have something at least relatable. You would
I like
think.
it.
Then maybe that's what we do next time.
These are always my these are the most nervous I get about any episodes we ever do, but they're always after we get through them. They're always the most fun for me to listen
a real
to.
performance.
I'm sorry if I ruined any sort of Prince experience for you.
No,
listen, you pulled it through in the end. At first, I was cringing a little bit because Prince is sacred, but you pulled it through. You pulled it through.
Listen. Margot Lane, that's my name. As the Purple Rain rhyme is the funniest. That's your new. I'm just a vampire for me. I think it has replaced it for me. It's just like as soon as you get to it, I'm like, oh, I know exactly how this is gonna go, and it's so good. It delivers. So hopefully all of you out there enjoyed.
I can picture her singing it at the halftime of the Super Bowl convertible in Miami in the rain.
Oh my God.
Margot Lane, that's my name. There's a porno there. I guarantee there's a porno there.
There it is.
But I hope you guys enjoyed our night of erotica and musical theater, which should appeal to just about all crowds, I imagine.
Yeah, I think we covered the spectrum.
I don't think anyone feels left out after this episode.
No,
definitely not.
And we hope you tune in to our next installment is a big one.
And should be the last for the year.
It will be our last of the year. And we're going to have we're actually going to be kind of sending Nick out on assignment possibly during the next podcast. We're kind of working on that, but every one of us is going to be involved in some way or another. But it is a December Christmas themed podcast that also coincides with Benjamin Wilson's birthday. We're going to have a lot of guest stars, a lot. I'm pretty sure Paul Lind, aka Kevin Thompson, is going to show up at some point.
All right.
I know that Ben's lovely wife Beth, is going to show up.
It's
and
a smorgasbord.
we are going to have a giant podcast that will be filled with all kinds of surprises and fun. So I hope you guys tune in.
super excited.
The kids call it a hot pod.
What?
Did I tell you that? So the fun
hot
part.
pod.
What's a hot pod?
A hot pod.
They don't call it that.
They
That's
do.
not a thing.
We're having that party.
gross.
I'm flying in on a red eye. I get at 5 o'clock that morning on Saturday morning.
Lord.
And I was just like, I need to make sure I get at least like 4 hours solid of sleep at some point during that day before we go to the party, or otherwise you're about to see me in worse form than you've ever seen me before.
Ooh. Don't make me promise.
Tune in. Don't threaten us with a good time.
Don't write
exactly.
checks with your mouth your body can't cash.
Oh, shit.
That was real creepy when
Touché.
when his body can't cash it means he falls asleep and I rape it.
Who knows how to end this podcast finally? Does someone know? Does anyone know how to end this
The
podcast?
Shadow knows.
Are you
believe.
trying for me to do
I led you for so long, Matt.
Just say it.
There it is.
All right. Thank you.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done, Matt.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.